Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today we're going to continue with Sarah Brannick's Simple Abundance, 365 Days to a Balanced and Joyful Life. April 16th, Walking as Meditation. As long as I approached walking as exercise, I never made it past the front door. But one day I was so anxious, I felt as if I would jump out of my skin. And so I bolted out of the house at lunchtime as if I were leaving the scene of a crime. Filled with disappointments, painful memories, and my own unrealistic expectations from the past, terrified of what the future held and the changes that were inevitable, the only safe place for me was the present moment. My foot against the pavement, the wind on my face, my breath entering and leaving my body. 40 minutes later, I stopped, discovered to my amazement that I was on the other side of town and headed back home, calm and centered. I have been in and out of walking ever since. I say in and out of walking because my desire to walk increases 100-fold by beautiful settings, particularly rural ones. For 10 years, I was frequently charmed by walking anywhere in the English countryside. And just the sight of Wellington boots, barber jacket, shepherd's crook, tweed cap, and scarf at a mudroom door means a meander beyond the swinging farm gate. But what's out there? You'll never find out if you don't get going. After I moved from England, when I walked in Taos, New Mexico, the enormity of the vast western landscape, which was new to me, seemed as if it had been waiting for me all along. You could stand and twirl yourself around, arms extended and whoop. The dogs could run circles around you and then sprint a quarter of a mile in front and back. Euphoria. I understood why pioneers pushed past everything to find their promised land. I also understood that the great creator wanted me to understand there was a landscape larger than the one I could see at the moment. I needed to trust and continue on in faith, one step at a time, until I arrived at wherever I was supposed to be. I wasn't the only writer to feel this way. When D.H. Lawrence discovered New Mexico in 1922, he claimed it changed him forever. He was to visit 3 times in 8 years, and in total only resided there for 11 months. Lawrence died in 1930 in France, but his spiritual awakening and longing for the Taos Mountains was so profound that his wife Frida brought back his ashes and buried him in a chapel at the small ranch where they had stayed. There are different reasons for walking: to increase the heart rate and build strength, to solve a creative problem, to finish that argument with yourself or someone else, to saunter and wake up to the world around you, and to meditate. Julia Cameron, their creativity coach, suggests a 20-minute walk a day and once a week walking for an hour. Creativity is a spiritual process, one in which we speak of inspiration. When we talk about inspiration, we are talking about drawing breath. Walking makes our breaking rhythmic and repetitive. Most days, I go on walks for a moving meditation, fitness of the spirit. I try to quiet the voices in my head, take long strides, and concentrate on the slow, steady rhythm of my breath, comforted by the interior silence. Suddenly, my reverie might be broken by the sound of birds singing, a dog barking, or the sight of a pretty garden. Thoreau complained of walking sometimes without getting there in spirit. The thought of some work will run in my head, and I am not where my body is. I am all out of my senses. This happens to me as well, but I have learned to train myself to return my awareness slowly to the physical act of walking, for here, in the present moment, one step at a time, I have found peace. If you have had difficulty sitting down to meditate, you might like to give a walking meditation a chance, especially now that the beautiful weather has returned. Take into consideration your preferences. If you are not a morning person, take a walk at midday, in the late afternoon, or after supper under the stars. Even if you work in a city during the day, you can break at lunch and take a walk. No one needs to know that you've shut the world out and are meditating as you stroll down the street. I have found there is no wrong way to do a walking meditation. I now live in an urban setting, surrounded by mountains and palm trees, and the view brings me much pleasure and peace here as it has anywhere else. But I still don't walk for exercise. Instead, I walk to get into those riding boots and fencing mask as my soul tags along. I suppose it doesn't matter why we walk, just that we do. Until tomorrow, I hope you have an amazing and blessed day.